The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. Got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my guy?
What's happening with you, dog? Now, you done coughed yourself off the camera. You muted.
Yeah, I felt that sneeze coming. It was gonna be that one felt like it was gonna be violent. But I'm good, man. Enjoy some good football, great football this week. Listen, the saying goes: any given Sunday, definitely any given Saturday, any given Friday, any given Thursday, because we've had some great football Thursday, Friday. Actually, you know what? I won't give them they do. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so on and so on. Tuesday games were straight, but it was some action. We're definitely gonna get into it, talk about it. Can't not, talk about the great job or the great game that LSU had on Saturday. I'm safe to talk a whole bunch of trash for for a good little bit. And I was worried because remember I told you about I told you and Noah about that since 2005 I was talking a little a little trash and came back on me. I was talking trash. I started off like Saturday morning. I started off talking big cash money.
They backed you up.
Yeah, they did, and I was I never had a doubt. I was like, all right, we good.
Nah, this one wasn't much of a doubt in this one.
I tell you what, after I saw some of the other teams lose that lost, I was good. I was like, Misery love company, so I'm good either way, But yeah, definitely a great game. We're gonna get into it, talk about all the good stuff. Yeah, but first, man, we gotta get a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We'll be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, and we're back, man. We do have a special guest that'll be joining us, Mo Carter from Huntsville's Fox 54 news station. He usually jumps on with us and talks HBCU hour, but he'll be coming on talking, Well, who better, to talk, especially we're gonna be talking Alabama and Auburn, college football. Who better than a sports director from a news station? So definitely gonna have him on. But let's go ahead and dive into this LSU game. So yesterday, LSU took on Auburn Tigers, welcome into Tiger Stadium, which is this was the last time that Auburn is going to be a regular, well,
permanent
word? Annual opponent, permanent opponent. From here on out, we'll play Auburn, but it'll be up in the air exactly when we play them.
It'll be on rotation.
Yeah, on a rotation, and we know how the SEC loves to get that right. Because the irony of it, we played Mizzou this year. This was the first time we played in Mizzou scheduled. We played Mizzou in Mizzou on schedule since they've been in the conference. So, and that's been almost 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. 9, if I'm mistaken. So I think they came, 2014? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, get it right. But yeah, man. So we welcomed in Auburn. LSU dominated from the jump.
Yeah, as they
should. Yeah. First 4 possessions went touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal. We only scored 3 points in the second quarter. Auburn was able to score a touchdown, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that fluky interception.
Yeah. Other than that, Jaden played a phenomenal game. Lacey had a breakout game.
Yeah.
Some people, go ahead.
I was gonna say he made up for some of them drops he's had.
Yeah. Pause hub. Said first time ever we beaten both Auburn and Mizzou in the same season.
Yeah, we ain't played them that many times, probably.
Yeah, it's funny because I know the first time we played them both was 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and that was we lost on the last second DJ Shark touchdown catch that wasn't a catch.
Yeah.
So we lost there, and then we played so they lost to Auburn. Then we played Mizzou, if I'm not mistaken, that very next week, and that was the Ensminger show stopping. So, but yeah, it was a great game. Great game. Defensively, very impressed how they came out. It came out and looked like what we expected, at least hope they would look like at the beginning of the year. But I don't know if we can put much into it. Auburn does have a really good rushing offense, but that's about it. So
yeah, it's one of them situations where was it a great defensive performance or is Auburn's offense just that bad? But I will say they did what they were supposed to do playing a bad offense. You know what I mean? They shut down the run for the most part. Auburn had less than 140 yards on the ground. And they only had like 150 yards passing, something like that. So I know Auburn struggles with their quarterback play, but you put them in situations where you force their quarterbacks to make plays, and it just didn't happen yesterday. So you got everything you wanted out of that LSU defense.
Yeah, big facts. I'm trying to find it so I can pull up the box score. Look at the stats. Yeah, 154 yards passing. There were 15 on 27 between both quarterbacks. Robbie Ashford, ironically, was the only one to throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
Held their rushing to only 139 yards. That was a big positive. Trying to think what else. I still would like to see more considering I was going to say we only had 2 sacks. But considering they didn't pass much, we did have 5 tackles for loss. So I don't know.
They got a lot of penetration though.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of times when they was in the backfield, they just didn't make the play, or they just made a pressure or a hurry, and it didn't actually translate to a sack. So the defensive line play has improved over the past 2 weeks, and I think you're starting to see the fruits of Pete Jenkins' labor this past couple weeks. But I would agree with you that it still ain't where you want it to be, but I will say it's an improvement.
Yeah. And all things considered, we won't know again this week. We take on Army. So, so it's not like we're gonna find out a lot more about this defense. But it's improvement. But we got our guest is with us, special guest. You ready? Oh, you good? Okay, here we go. Most of y'all know him. We bring him on. Is on HBCU Hour. We had to switch it up. Get him on the Golden Boot. Like I said, who better to talk Alabama and Auburn and all the rest of the football with us than somebody who covers Alabama and Auburn? Our good man Mo Carter. Welcome back.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this Sunday evening?
We good. Definitely appreciate you coming. I see you repping in the background. Got your Southern and
gotta decorate the wall at work. So got all variations. You got the picture of me from when I played at Southern University. You kind of see the shaker for Alabama. There's an Auburn one. There's a SWAC poster. There's various things behind me. There's a Huntsville Havoc poster from their first championship that I covered here a few years ago. So, like I say, you just got to make it feel like home away from home at times. Since I spent a lot of time at this place called 554 when I'm not, hanging out with the wife and son.
Gotcha, man. Mo, so we just got started talking about the Auburn LSU game. LSU has struggled on defense mightily. Especially against the pass. Play Auburn, who has struggled to pass. So we did, as far as the defense goes, I don't know if we learned much about the defense as far as what they can do if they've improved against the pass. We saw against the second half against Mizzou, they looked a little bit better. Left room for improvement. But again, this week, it's not much you can really take from it. Did look good on rush defense, but your thoughts, because like I said, I know you cover Auburn a little bit more. So, what do you think?
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. LSU went out and did exactly what I thought they were going to do. Punch Auburn in the mouth, build a big lead, and then basically tell Hugh Freeze, come from behind to try to beat us, which honestly, a lot of us figured that was not going to be the case. I mean, Auburn's offense has been helter-skelter, through the year. Robbie Ashford has been, one of those QBs, and then they have the Michigan State transfer at the other quarterback spot, and neither one of them really have been on point, to be honest with you. And because of that, their offense really has not been able to get into a groove. And that other quarterback is Peyton Thorne, the Michigan State transfer. Yeah, those guys have really not been able to get into a groove. And I think it's more so because there's not a lot of talent at the wide receiver position to really spread the ball out and about. So because of that, you're seeing Peyton Thorne take off more times than when you want to see him. You're seeing Robbie Ashford virtually come in and be in his own version of a wildcat because he knows he's not about to throw the ball or take off and just run for his life, honestly. They want to get the ball more to Jarquez Hunter, the talented running back they have, but lots of times they've fallen behind the 8 ball many times, so you have to get away from that, and you can't really give yourself a balanced attack with that. And that's another reason why I think that we've seen Auburn and head coach Hugh Freeze go back and forth between Thorne and Robbie Ashford as far as guys just playing from the QB spot. And then that puts Auburn's defense in a very bad position most times because the offense really isn't producing anything. I had a feeling it was going to be a very long year for Auburn, and it's definitely coming true. And I mean, honestly, what's ahead for them really ain't too good either for the Tigers as, they get ready to go into the back half of the stretch and pull up their schedule right now. Let's see, still coming up, got a battle against Ole Miss. So, Lane Kiffin and company, they're still trying to be in the hunt in the SEC West potentially. Mississippi State's going to be really of a toss-up. The Vanderbilt game may not look like something promising, but hey, it's at Vandy. Vandy, y'all know how it is. They can beat a team that they're not supposed to beat many times. Yeah. Then go into Arkansas, a team that we just saw what they did with Alabama recently, and then Alabama at the end of the year. So, guys, I don't really see too many more wins coming from the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then when you look at that defense, they had been playing pretty good. Ron Roberts got that defense playing a lot better than that offense. But whenever your offense puts you behind the 8 ball, they can't score the ball, puts the other team in short fields and things of that nature. There's only so much that defense can do. And we've seen what this LSU offense could do this year. They're putting up points on any and everybody, much less a defense that ends up getting gassed in the second half because their offense keeps them on the field.
Absolutely. Yeah, you talk about what Roberts has done. He's got a great track record. But, I mean, this year, because of offensive inefficiency, I should say, for Auburn, Auburn's defense has just been put in a bad spot. And clearly – it does not take a genius for you to know that, okay, you got to find a way to contain Jaden Daniels. He's too good of a player to just stop him. So you have to contain him. And Auburn did not do that early on. I mean, Daniels really having his way with the defense. And even when he looked like he was in tight spots, he just dumped it off to a running back or dumped it off to Kyron Lacey. Shout out to the Lacey family. Been knowing them for a number of years, including his mom, who I participated in a bunch of church events in the district way back in the Gap. So good people down there for sure. Always knew he was going to do a lot of good things. But yeah, man, they were just spreading the ball around so much, and Auburn just looked so lost last night. And guys, I admit, I wanted to just hit the remote and be like, all right, let's go ahead and turn this or whatever. But you got to stay focused on it because if not, I got to worry about what everybody else is going to say from it. So I kept watching that game get worse and worse and worse last night. But yeah, man, clearly LSU had a plan. They came out, executed it well, and Auburn just had really no chance after they got down 17-0.
Yeah. I thought something that was interesting that Auburn did on defense. Malik Neighbors leads now he leads the nation in receiving yards. But he was behind Luther Burden from Mizzou going into the game. Brian Thomas Jr. led the league if I'm not mistaken, led the nation in touchdowns, or at least was I know he's like top 5 now. Okay. Auburn bracketed Brian Thomas Jr. I think they at times bracketed Malik Neighbors, but it seemed like they focused more on Brian Thomas. And
they pretty much shut him out.
Yeah, he only had 2 catches for 7 yards, but it was like and people were like, where is he? But the focus was all on him. So I thought that was interesting versus, I guess you could say from the eye test, Malik Neighbors would be the person you probably key in on, but Auburn went the other direction.
Absolutely. I'm guessing that Auburn didn't look at the film from the Mississippi State LSU game. And they must have not looked at that because, I mean, that was really my first time really seeing Neighbors in real rarefied era form. And clearly, each and every week, I'm like, man, if I'm playing LSU, I got to find a way to double team, jam this guy at the line, do something because, I mean, he is a playmaker. I know at the same time you have other playmakers on that field for LSU, but like Neighbors seems to just be that guy that you want to probably key in first and foremost and then kind of build your defense around from it. But like I said, just total dominating performance by the Bayou Bengals to, not only get the win on Saturday, but, try to keep them in the, in the hunt for the SEC West, which, once again, they still have their whole entire season in front of them, including, a big game that comes up at the beginning of November.
Yeah. So let's go there because I want to talk about Alabama. But first, before we talk about, not necessarily LSU versus Alabama, but Alabama as a whole. They took on Arkansas yesterday. One thing I kept hearing about Alabama, or what actually kept hearing about Arkansas because of how close the LSU Arkansas game had been, was and Mo, you know, being in Alabama, the topic. Oh man, y'all, you know, saying let Arkansas have that close game with y'all. We finna blow them out the water, finna show you what it look like. And final score: Bama 24, Arkansas 21. I'm starting to wonder if Arkansas is better than people think, just not good enough to get those wins because they've been close in every game this season.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, man. Arkansas is way better than what their record definitely shows. And the thing that's hurt Arkansas the most, they've gotten off to some very slow starts in many games. Yesterday was a perfect example of it. I mean, Alabama was completely dominating that game after Arkansas went up 6-0, and then they just made a comeback. And even Coach Saban said it last night in his press conference. He was like, Arkansas is good, and we let up. And what I mean, we're talking about Alabama in this situation by way of Nick Saban. Coach Saban was like, look, this team is much better than what you guys give credit for. But at the same time, too, our guys did not take advantage of keeping the notions going. Because, I mean, Milroe played a pretty solid game. It was just they decided to let the foot off the gas. And then Arkansas with KJ Jefferson, who is one heck of a quarterback for them. And when he's on. And he kind of was able to show that. And luckily for Alabama, their defense was kind of like, all right, time for us to really get challenged. And when they needed to really, really get that challenge late in the fourth quarter, they got the stops that they need. But, yeah, I just think that Arkansas is just one of those teams that, you know, they've kind of just caught tough breaks this year. And because of that, either they've had to find a way to get back into games and they just don't have, solid starts. Just make some things happen. Because, I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. Okay. Arkansas has 1, 2, 3. They've got 5 losses. If you take away the loss at Texas A&M, 4 of those 5 losses are one-possession games. They lost to BYU 38-31. They lost to LSU 34-31. They lost to Ole Miss 27-20, and they lost to Alabama 24-21. And even the Texas A&M game was only by 12 points. So 4 to 5 games, one possession. If it goes the different route, Arkansas could be. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4. They could be 6-1 right now, guys. They really, really could be 6-1 right now had the ball, rolled the other way. But I know we talk about ifs and fifths and all that.
Right.
But, that's literally the stone cold truth. And Arkansas probably is a team that just hadn't even hit their full potential, but they're pretty solid all in all. And who knows? They may be able to, catch some fire late in the season. They've got Mississippi State, Florida, Auburn, FIU, and Missouri. I mean, they only need – they got I'm not sure they're going to make a bowl game, to be honest with you guys, in this scenario. I mean, they got to win 4 out of 5. I could see them beating Mississippi State. I could see them beating Auburn. I could see them beating FIU. So that's 3. They just need to get a victory either against Florida and Missouri to go to a bowl game and, keep Sam Pittman around in that sense. So that's really my take really on Arkansas right now, the old Hogs up there in Fayetteville.
What's your takeaway on Alabama? Because I know the early touchdown was a blown coverage by Arkansas. Guy was streaking wide open down the field. It looked to me like they can score points, but it's very takes a lot of effort. You know what I mean? There's not really a lot of easy points that they get unless it's a blown coverage like yesterday.
So what I've been noticing with Alabama throughout this year, if you take away the Texas game, every other game has really, really just been, especially for a win that's been closer. They're not going to be these blowouts like we're accustomed to seeing them have, these last couple of years. I mean, I hate to say it. Other teams are starting to figure out what Alabama is really going to bring to the table. So Bama's got to just find ways to continue to win some ugly games. And sometimes that's what you really, really need to find out how much of a talented group you really have. And they're finding ways to win ugly, finding ways to win games down the stretch, and also just finding ways to win games in the trenches. So one thing I can say about this is that even though they lost to Texas, I feel like Alabama is not out the national title picture for the playoffs just yet because of what's in front of them. Now they need I feel like they need some help around the way or whatever with some other teams playing each other down the stretch. But I mean, if Bama could run the table, I think they may get a shot in the college football playoff system because they're sitting at a good spot right now. They're at number 11, and there are several teams in front of them that have to play each other in the top 10 still coming up. And if one knocks whatever off or whatever, they eventually they could make their way to Atlanta. But clearly for Bama, we know what's coming up, in the upcoming weeks, especially the big game against LSU in the first week of November. And of course, we've been around this thing called college football for a long time. We know how big things are. But before we even talk about that, heck, Alabama's got Tennessee this week, third Saturday in October game. And I mean, that's just as big as any other whatever game. So clearly they're going to put a lot into that contest next weekend before they go into their bye. And then, we'll see what the month of November has in store for Coach Saban and the Tide.
So I am unapologetically biased against Alabama.
Okay.
But they don't pass the eye test for me as far as how they look, and I don't know if it's because of past Bama standards or if I'm looking at a team that's winning, getting by with wins and not actually winning games, if that makes sense to y'all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's funny. Paul Feinbaum actually kind of said the same thing this morning. Not Paul Feinbaum. McElroy. Greg said the same thing. Greg said the same thing as I was listening to some stuff, and he said, like it or love it, Bama's still getting these victories, Right. So in order for you to kind of keep them out the equation for the SEC and potentially for the playoffs, you got to hand them another loss because, I mean, they're still unbeaten in the SEC.
Yeah. I have said Bama will have a down year and still win 9-10 games.
I think that's kind of becoming the consensus now. The only thing that I think people are still not realizing is the fact that they're not used to saying something like that.
Yeah.
And you got anything on before? Because I don't want to.
Nah, I'm through with Bama.
Yeah. I'm not impressed.
I'm not either, honestly, but
yeah, Milroe it's funny because people a lot of times to knock on a lot of quarterbacks, check down Charlie. He's deep throw Daryl. Pause. Deep throw. Because I know that didn't deep throw Daryl. And that's pretty much, it's like a one-trick pony.
Mm-hmm.
Intermediate game doesn't impress me. Or it's pretty much not. He did make a good intermediate throw to seal the game yesterday against Arkansas. But even a blind squirrel. So, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, y'all know. Y'all got me. What's good, Edwin and Josh? Oh man. But you did mention they got a big game coming up. Got Tennessee this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Who took on Texas A&M that Alabama played last week. Texas A&M was, all the talent in the world. Alabama looked really good last week, and I can admit that. They looked really good, and to a point where a lot of people were like, Bama might have found it. And then they took on Arkansas yesterday, and everybody was like, I don't think so.
I know.
And then we saw Texas A&M versus Tennessee. And next week, Tennessee got Alabama. It's going to be a struggle bowl. Because you got two of the same quarterback. It's that meme of Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Pointing.
Yeah, pointing. I don't know. Because that's what Milton does. Milton throws deep very well, and that's all. He has such a strong arm, but intermediate and decision making, I'm not so sure about. And you made a face. You disagree?
I ain't gonna say I disagree. I feel like Milroe upside is much higher than Joe.
Oh, I agree. I'm just talking about like right now. Yeah. So
yeah, I think they As a passer, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But as a quarterback, I can't necessarily agree with you. Just because of what Miro brings with his legs and,
Yeah, I agree.
dynamic playmaker he can be with his legs. But I think the difference between them is one of them's got Josh Heupel and one of them doesn't. So whenever you're talking about what they could be offensively, you got to take that into consideration because when you put Josh Heupel in the mix, that kind of changes what you could do offensively.
Josh Heupel versus Tommy Reese. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But here's a question I have to ask you guys. You take a look at Tennessee. Clearly, we know what their quarterback can do from an athletic standpoint. But who do you think has the better rushing attack? I mean, would you give that, give that more of an edge to Alabama with a guy like, McClellan in the backfield, or do you see it as Tennessee?
If you're talking about who has the better running back,
oh boy, you took
singular,
my yeah.
Then I think that's Alabama and McClellan. But if you're talking about who has the better stable of running backs, I think I might get at the Tennessee. As an overall collective group, I think that they might have a better group. And if I'm not mistaken, they're like number 2 in the SEC in rushing right now. So they ain't too much of a slouch themselves running the ball.
I actually got a different standpoint. I agree with the first part. Who has the better back is Alabama. My question is, who has the better rushing attack? I'm going Tennessee because Tennessee's offensive line actually is a lot. I'm not gonna say a lot. They're better than Alabama's offensive line.
Yeah, I think we'll see.
As far as getting, getting a push.
That's true. But if you ask me who has the better rushing attack, I gotta throw the quarterbacks in there.
Oh, okay.
And so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so then, therefore, but if you're talking about like totality as with the offensive line included, I would agree with that, Tennessee.
Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting. But the thing about that is Alabama couldn't get oh no, I'm sorry, not Alabama. Texas A&M and Arkansas really couldn't get good rushes because Alabama's front seven was kind of, stepping up. So that's going to be a good test for me to see how, Tennessee can handle that.
Yeah.
So on the other side of that, Texas A&M, Max Johnson is all they have at quarterback right now.
Right.
LSU fans, I think, feel a lot better about that because, at one point it was thought, man, Max left. It was kind of the whole, we lost Ryan Perrilloux all over again. Not that saying Max and Ryan Perrilloux was saying, but we felt like the heir apparent quarterback is gone, He looked good in spots. I give him that. He looks good in spots, but he never looks comfortable.
Part of it is because their offensive line. I feel like their offensive line is too young right now. They need some time to gel and get experience. They playing some true freshmen and redshirt freshmen and things of that nature on their offensive line, and it's hard to do in SEC play. But I also think it's they don't have identity as offense. With Connor Wegman in there, they played one style of offense, and then now that Max is in, they're trying to be kind of more of a run-first offense and rely more on the running game. And I don't know if that fits their personnel, especially with the offensive line. So I think part of the problem is they just don't know who they are offensively. But Max does have limitations, but we've seen that you can win games with Max and his limitations if you just put him in the right situations. And right now, A&M is not doing it.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, shout out to Mr. Edwin Moore. Yes, I am dressing for success because in about 2 hours I will be on the television screen, talking sports and whatnot. We're a little late tonight because we do. I'm I work for a Fox affiliate, so I have the ALCS this evening, and so we're running a little late, which allowed me to actually be on with you guys or whatever this evening.
Shout out to the MLB for that.
Yes. Man, it was you just mentioned it and about was it quarterback?
Yeah, Max Johnson and they identity. No,
that's what it was. My question: who's calling plays?
That's a good question, man, because clearly, Jimbo was under pressure really going into this upcoming season because things just have not been working. And of course, we know he's making all that money that they gave him out there, the good old Texas oil money, as they always talk about, and they have not been able to see the results that for sure, they want to see just in general in Aggie land. So you would think that whoever his offensive coordinator / play calling individual is the person running, but I have a feeling that Jimbo still has his hands on it here or there because, no offense, we're still kind of seeing some of the same results, which I thought we may have seen an improved result because, hey, their recruiting rankings these last few years have been pretty solid, and where they're literally battling the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the Ohio States on the national ranking. So I would have thought I was seeing that improved play with better players, but play calling is still there. Then y'all know what it is.
As much of a question as who is calling the plays, who's putting the game plan together?
Oh.
Because even if Jimbo's letting Petrino call plays, if Jimbo's got his hand in the game plan, you can handcuff him, Petrino.
Yeah. So I'm glad because and I asked that for a reason. And here's what I know about Petrino. I've seen Petrino take Louisville, who was Conference USA, I think at the time, Big East.
Big East.
Big East Louisville compete against Devin Hester in championship Miami and had them down where Miami had to come back and win the game. I've seen him do that. I've seen him take where was he last year? Something Southeast New Mexico, Missouri.
Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, Southeast Missouri. Child of the Lamb Baptist Church University. But he took them into Arkansas and almost beat Arkansas.
He had Arkansas ranked as a top 3 team in the country when he was there.
Yep, did.
So
he did, and then there was this one game against Alabama where I want to say it was like a top 10 battle, and Bama beat him like 50-0 or something like that. Like, it was insane, and I don't think really Arkansas has been right ever since.
Yeah.
But my thing is, that's why I'm saying, Pooh.
Yeah.
Whose game plan is it? Because that don't look like a Petrino game plan. That look like a Jimbo Fisher game plan. And he gives the play call sheet to Petrino and said, "You can call plays, but you're gonna call these plays."
Yeah, we watched. So beginning of the season, Texas A&M, when they announced that Petrino was going to be their offensive coordinator, on the outside, LSU fans like, "That's all right." Saying Texas 8-4, we'll beat them. But a lot of people were worried and nervous because they knew about Petrino's play calling abilities.
Mm-hmm.
As this season has progressed, and listen, you said the key word, we've seen Max Johnson win big games. We've seen Max Johnson keep you in big games. With that being said, I have no idea what is going on in Texas A&M as far as, behind the scenes. I do know that that's not Petrino. That's not the Petrino we know.
Yeah.
So,
and he got, like, to Mo's point, he got weapons, man. He got the running backs they got with Moss and Owens, and the receivers. Evan Stewart is a monster. They still got
Muhammad.
That
dude still give me nightmares from
they got weapons over there, man. So it's all about putting them in positions to succeed, and that comes on the OC and the head coach. So I mean, if you at this point, I don't know if you can afford a buyout if you ain't. I mean, afford probably ain't the right word because they can afford it. But are you willing to pay the buyout and then go pay for another head coach, or do you, or if you just kind of stuck with him for another year at this point?
That's a good question. They gotta figure something out. I got another question though, because
I like him not figuring it out.
Yeah, I do too. I got somebody else that's not passing the eye test for me. Number 1, Georgia.
Oh.
Come on up. Georgia took on Vanderbilt yesterday. Got the win 37-20. This game was actually probably closer than this score. Georgia has, and I know they're young. They've got a new quarterback. They've replaced a lot of pieces. This doesn't look like the number 1 team in the nation to me. I don't know if I can necessarily name the number 1. I know two candidates, well, 3 candidates now. But Georgia does not look like the number 1 team. But they, until somebody beat them, they're gonna, or until the playoff committee decide. So, am I tripping? Oh, and then what's his name? Tight end. Bowers got hurt. I don't know.
Get hurt. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know the extent of that injury. I hadn't checked on it, heard anything, but
you're gonna have to just wait for like ESPN or somebody to put that out because Kirby doesn't talk about injuries.
Yeah. Tori Williams says Florida is going to beat Georgia.
You know, it always gets wild down there in Jacksonville for that game. And I mean, there are years where Florida should roll past Georgia and then they don't, and then vice versa. So I'm kind of on to what Tori's saying a little bit. And as y'all mentioned, Georgia a little bit younger in certain spots. And, Florida's probably just going to be like, hey, we ain't got nothing to lose in this situation.
Yeah. And they do got even though he's not the best quarterback, Graham Mertz is an experienced quarterback. So in a game like that, that goes a long way.
Yeah. And I'm glad. Let's go. We can go ahead and shift there. Florida took on South Carolina, got the dub 41-39 yesterday. Florida is as quiet as it's kept and as bad as they've looked in at least the Utah game and the Kentucky game. Florida's 5-2.
I said that yesterday. They quietly 5-2, bro.
That is, yeah.
And that was a big win, a good win yesterday too.
Because
they had to come from behind late in that game, and their quarterback made some big plays late in that game to get them that dub. So I know a lot of LSU fans want to laugh at Florida and their failures and things of that nature, but they rolling right now, and they not a team that you really want to see right now. But that game, LSU Florida, is not going to be an easy dub.
No, it's not. And they are on a bye this upcoming week. Them and Georgia, because they get ready for the
ice cream social.
Yeah, I forget what they named all these stupid games. Like they be changing the names. What was it? The greatest cocktail party?
World's largest cocktail party.
Yeah, and they. Yeah. But they did. Somebody said they finished with 4 ranked teams. Tori said that they got Georgia, Arkansas, which Arkansas, don't sleep on them because they may figure 1 or 2 out. And if it's as Mo mentioned about the bowl game, if it comes down to the 2 teams, Florida, Missouri to get into a bowl, I'm gonna put my money on them beating Florida before I put it on them beating Missouri right now. But they got Georgia, Arkansas, LSU, or at LSU, at Missouri, and then of course Florida State.
And that Arkansas game squeezed in the middle of
Georgia and LSU.
LSU is a classic letdown game.
Yes,
there you go.
Yeah, because if they get the win over Georgia, we LSU fans, the win over Alabama, then the next week you go take on Arkansas, and it's a little bit flat. So. Definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how like Alabama had it, where those wins they would have over LSU, whether they were dominant or they were actually close, and then like the next week they play Mississippi State and like barely beat them by a touchdown in most cases. Like It's very, very similar to a situation like that because we've seen it multiple times, especially at this part of the season, man. I mean, some teams still have their feet under them. Some teams they need the ice bath a little bit more than other teams.
Yeah, especially if it's one of them emotional games where it takes a lot out of you, and it's one thing getting up each and every week, but it's another thing whenever they're hard fought emotional games that. Like the Oregon-Washington game, where you hate that somebody has to lose type game. So
correct.
If it's one of those type games down there in Jacksonville, I could see Florida having a letdown week the following week against Arkansas.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was looking at the Sunday night football. I looked up somebody's getting carted out or actually taken to an ambulance for the Buffalo Bills again. And DeMar Hamlin is he's inactive tonight, so he's visibly emotional.
As he should be, because he knows exactly how it is to be in that spot.
Yeah. So we don't know the extent of the injury, of course, or anything right now. So, geez.
Let's just hope it's just precautionary that they're taking him.
Yeah.
To the hospital to go check out or whatever, compared to you could just kind of shake it off and then something worse could happen.
Right. I do want to talk about a sneaky good game from yesterday. Mizzou versus number 24 Kentucky. This game actually told me a lot more about Mizzou and I guess you can say in hindsight LSU as well. Mizzou pulled off a big win in Lexington, 38-21. If I'm not mistaken, they got down 14-0 and made this comeback. So, congrats to Mizzou. That has become a really good rivalry as well. So,
well, here's the other thing too, man. With Mizzou, I mean, right now Mizzou, as of today, ranked number 20 in the latest AP Top 25 poll. They've got South Carolina this upcoming week, which is it's going to be a tough battle, even though the people on the point spread may say differently. Mm-hmm. They win that, all of a sudden they go into a bye week, and then following that, man, you've got undefeated Georgia playing host to, at the time, I think Mizzou is probably going to be a top 15 team at the time, 7-1, and man, the East could be literally decided by that game right there. And we were talking about that in the sports office the other day because that weekend is the weekend that CBS has their doubleheader for the SEC. And, of course, you have LSU, Alabama probably is the favorite to be the primetime game. But as I was looking, I'm like, hold on, man. If you got 6-1 Missouri at the time, about 7-1 Missouri going against Georgia, there's a possibility those people are going to be going back and forth saying, okay, who do we want to have in our primetime schedule? Do we want to have Alabama, LSU, which has done good, or do we want to have the number one team in the nation in primetime on the SEC? Well, from the SEC on CBS that evening. I think, honestly, one game is going to get 7 p.m., the other game is going to get 2:30. It's just a matter of who's getting that 7 p.m. game, to be honest with you, especially if Missouri wins this upcoming, next weekend.
If I got my pick, give me LSU at 2:30 because I don't want to see that stupid light show that they be doing. I'm a hater. He did give the I can't even see who it is. It's the running back for Buffalo. He did give a thumbs up, so he is conscious and stuff going out. And hopefully this is, like you said, precautionary. But yeah, man, Mizzou, man, Luther Burden and Cooks look good. Braden Cooks. And it's funny because he got booed beginning of the season when he was named starting quarterback.
He was. Yep. He was. But that just shows you how people can just go through adversity and eventually come back into the mix and into the fold and bounce back.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I know he's in the top of the at least the country. At least the conference as far as passing leaders. Yep, he's in number 6 in the country as far as yards. So yeah, he's up there.
He had a lot of yards against LSU. I know that for sure.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He got 2 great receivers to throw to. That's for sure.
Yeah, and he's got 14. He's number 15 in touchdowns, passing touchdowns. So yeah, That's definitely very impressed with him. Leary looked good, but he can only do so much. So, and you got
I see that, man.
oh man, Dave came in. Hey, Aunt, happy homecoming. Dave is a Alabama A&M Mo, so that
I got you.
By the time I get a D1 win,
ooh, shots fired.
Well, technically, it's their second one, but
going into what is probably the game of the day.
I almost said something about UAPB aim.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. Listen. No, don't get us. Listen, do not listen. We got a good thing going at HBCU. Don't get us canceled. We already got an answer to never mind. To the people. But game of the day yesterday. Oregon versus Washington. I can't remember what the spread. I don't know if they hit the over, but this game was back and forth. It was great. You had number 8 Oregon going into Washington. Washington ended up getting the dub 36-33. I got a question. Did Oregon lose this game more than Washington won it? Okay.
Yes.
Going forward as many times as they did.
All right, so I can understand the going for it at halftime and not taking the 3 points or whatever. I get that. What I don't get is when you up with 2 minutes left in the game, why you decide to go for it there instead of punting the ball and making them go the whole length of the field, bro? Yeah. I don't get that.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. Because it only took Michael Penix 2 plays to get his team down the field and score.
Yeah, and that's you know what, and being way too aggressive. And if I know, and Mo, you said earlier, we could play the if game. If LSU is not if they're aggressive but not as aggressive against Florida State, I think that's a different game.
Yeah. Well, Dan Lanning should have saved some of them points that they put up versus Colorado, and maybe they would have won the game versus Washington.
I agree.
I
agree. Yeah, because it was I was looking like as many times as they went forward, if they just kick one of those field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's gotta be
Michael Penix.
That's gotta be tough for Bo Nix though, because he had a hell of a game yesterday.
He did.
He did everything he was supposed to do to win that game. And then the terrible play call, even when you decide to go for it on 4th down, is a bad play call. And then all Bo Nix arguably one of the greatest games of his career for nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
33, 44, 337, 2 tutties. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna say I played Michael Penix.
I was gonna say it,
but the only reason why I said I get so Michael Penix had 4 touchdowns, but he was 22 or 37. Which isn't bad, 302 yards. Bo Nix had more yards, and Penix had the 2 extra touchdowns, but he also had a pick. So Bo Nix added 14 yards on the ground. Michael Penix had a sack for 5. So minus 5 yards. So I get it.
The reason why I say I think he outplayed him was because going into that game, everybody knew what Michael Penix was as a passer.
Right.
Right. Everybody knew he was arguably the best passer in college football, Heisman talk, all this kind of stuff. Nobody was really giving Bo Nix none of that. Nobody was really, putting him on that same level. And he went out there and had just as good if not of a better game, while not being looked at as the same caliber of quarterback. So right. I feel like because of that reason, you got to say that he was the better quarterback yesterday. He kind of upped his level of play where Penix kind of just did what he always does.
No, I can definitely agree with you on that one. And I mean, he definitely came in. And I mean, who knows? Bo Nix probably had a chip on his shoulder too, knowing that more people have been talking about what Penix had been doing throughout the year and not so much what Bo Nix had been doing besides, the big blowout over Colorado that everybody really, really saw. But look, I admit, like, literally, they're going back and forth. But even that fourth down play call way through the incomplete pass, I think it was like 4th and 3. If you know the capabilities of Bo Nix, put him in a run pass option, roll him out. And if the pass isn't there, let him try to run for those 3 yards to pick up the first down and basically end the game right then and there. I think like just having them drop back and really throw like a deep out route, that was not the best play call in that situation. And of course, I don't know what they feel from a kicking standpoint, but heck, even, attempt a field goal or punt, something. I just felt that play call was just not on the top of the priority list when it really came out, and then the execution, we kind of saw what that was too. Because it almost seemed like going way too back with Bo Nix, the Oregon wide receivers, a lot of them seem to be kind of in the same area too, to where I don't know if they were confused about what was actually being called in that situation. I know, the stadium that Washington plays in is very, very loud, but heck, they'd already been doing a pretty good job throughout the day. So that's another thing I kind of am curious about as far as like, why did you decide to go with that compared to putting yourself in an easier spot or an easier mix?
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah. I don't know if this was a shocker to me. I was kind of shocked. I'm not necessarily about who won, but I guess by how much. Number 10 USC got trounced by number 21 Notre Dame, 48-20. That was yeah.
Did Caleb Williams lose the Heisman yesterday?
Possibly. I feel that he definitely took some hits on that one or whatever. The only thing about Caleb Williams, though, Ant, is the fact that, he still does have that Pac-12 schedule in front of him, and a lot of his games with USC will continue to be nationally televised. So he has a chance to, work his way back into it. Let me pull up USC schedule real quick.
And they still got Washington, they still got Oregon, they still got Utah.
Okay, well, look, you just mentioned all those teams. I mean, so national spotlights will be on all of those squads, so
I just feel like it's gonna be hard. You gotta be almost perfect to come back from a game like what he had.
Oh, totally agree. But yeah, if he can put up lights out numbers against Utah, who's ranked number 14 at the moment. They play Washington November the 4th, so we know exactly what he's got to do in that one, and then play Oregon the next week. I think by that time you're in mid-November and you have the opportunity to really let the folks who vote know that, okay, I'm back in this thing as I get ready for the UCLA game, and if they can punch their ticket to a Pac-12 championship, then that's an additional game that he has a chance to put on display. But at the same time, as we mentioned, the two quarterbacks we just talked about, Michael Penix and Bo Nix, they have their opportunities too to go against USC, and clearly we could almost see a situation where they could put up similar numbers as well.
I mean, Sam Hartman put up numbers yesterday.
Yeah. Next we got UCLA, number 18 UCLA. Went to Corvallis to take on number 15 Oregon State. Oregon State got the win 36-24. Don't sleep on Oregon State. DJU is he's I ain't gonna say reinventing himself. I think he answered a lot of questions about, this year at least, about was it him or was it the system? Because what's the kid that took his spot? Clank.
Cade Klubnik.
Yeah. I was gonna call him Klingon. Klingon ain't look good either. So he's a little bad. Golly, who is this? Is terrible. This game is terrible.
That's a backup quarterback though. That's for the Giants.
No, when I say his game is terrible, I was saying terrible because neither one is like Tyrod Taylor's look good. Josh Allen hasn't. But anyway. Yeah.
It would be, I don't know if I can go that far, but he's looked better than I expected Tyrod Taylor to look. But looked good. I don't know if I can go there.
I mean, considering the offense, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the NFL. But yeah, UCLA, Oregon State. Pac-12 after dark. Dante Moore looked like a freshman. He looked good in spots, but he looked like a freshman.
Yeah, it's growing pains, man.
Yeah.
Yep, always will be.
All right. Oh, they finna blow this.
Why would you run? They ain't got no timeouts.
No, they used all their timeouts. That was
it's over with.
That's half. That is half.
That's
the
stupid.
Giants had the ball first and goal at the 2 with what, 12 seconds left?
I think it was something like that.
And they ran the ball. It don't look like that was the play that was called because he is all over Tyrod Taylor too. So I rescind my comment. Cal took on number 16 Utah, and Utah looked like Utah. I don't know if I don't think Cam Rising is back yet. But Utah defense was of course the same, but they offense stepped up, put up points. It was 34-14. Nope, Cam Rising still not back. So Bryson Barnes 15-21, 128. But they rushing game. They ran for 317, 4 touchdowns. Yeah, wow. Cal to 66 rushing yards, 188 passing yards. So yeah,
I'm just not that good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's not to diminish what Utah did, but Cal's not good at all.
Yeah. Next up, because Arizona, huge upset over number 19 Wazzu, 44-6. I did not see that one coming. I thought Arizona was gonna have a letdown game after the, yeah, agreed.
Yeah, they could definitely spoil some things for a few teams in the Pac-12 conference.
They got offense, bro. They got some receivers, and they can put up some points. I mean, just about every team in the Pac-12 can, but Arizona right there with just about anybody as far as the ability to put up points with McMillan and them receivers that they got. They ain't a pushover. And I know they early in the season they kind of looked like they weren't gonna be much, but they found something and they started clicking, and they've been a tough out ever since.
Yeah,
which will be good, for them moving forward as they build confidence going into the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Next one, I gotta talk about this one. Stanford, amazing comeback on Friday night. Huge comeback for the win over Colorado, 46-43 in double overtime. They were the inspiration behind tonight's episode title. That's nasty work because their wide receiver put up 246 yards and 3 touchdowns in the second half alone. That's it.
On Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he going to the league straight off that video right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. And you've been saying it, and I agree, but I think it's more evident. Travis Hunter is an amazing athlete. I think he needs to focus on the offensive side if he's going to the league.
I ain't gonna go that far.
I am.
I said it the first week of the season, and I've been saying it since he was really at Jackson State. But right now, Travis Hunter is a better wide receiver than he is a cornerback.
Right now, yes.
And his upside might be higher at cornerback. You know what I mean? He could be.
He's great instinct.
He could be like, Hall of Fame caliber cornerback, and he could be like a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. I would agree with that. His upside is higher at cornerback, but right now, at this current moment, he's better as a wide receiver. Part of that is because he doesn't have all the technical refined, all the technicalities that you need for corner, the technician things. He's not refined completely yet at cornerback. He's relying on just athleticism and instincts. But at receiver, he can rely on athletic and instincts, and he can do more with it. So I at this point, I think what he needs to do is he needs to decide which one he wants to play going forward and spend more time on just one side of the ball. Because playing 100 and some snaps a game is not going to be sustainable. And that's the reason why he looked the way he did in that second half, because he's been on the field too much.
I understand what you're saying. I respect it. Stay on the offensive side. I ain't got no pretty word for it. Stay on the offensive side.
Man,
he's
a first round pick at corner if he plays strictly corner.
Correct. I'm with you on that one for sure, Ant.
The problem
he
is
just looked too tired.
Yeah, he's playing too many snaps. That's the problem.
Okay, I agree though.
He just looked really, really tired, and I mean, yeah, that Stanford wide receiver. I mean, he was balling, and even Mark Jones, said it was like, don't be surprised if on this play they go back towards attacking, Hunter, because we know for sure that Alec Ayamainer is literally out there to prove himself in that situation. And I mean, heck, when you got a quarterback like Daniels for Stanford, he feeds off of that. They're probably looking at it like, hey man, give me the ball, especially since they know that Travis Hunter was just coming back from injury and he wasn't going to be 100%, and he was just tired late into the night at that. Plus, let's also think about this. We're from the, we're all from the South or whatever. When you go to those Rocky Mountain elevated areas, it's a whole different type of breathing atmosphere. You remember Ryan Clark could never play up there. He would always, not be able to play, or he would be on the inactive roster when the Steelers used to play at the Broncos just because of the height difference. I'm sure that's got something to do with it too when you really, really go deep into it. But yeah, that was a great game for sure. And Stanford literally just pulled it off. And I saw a comment saying that, wow, Colorado lost to a 1-win Stanford team. That one win was over Hawaii, and they even lost to FCS Sacramento State, which, if you go deeper, Sacramento State's coaching staff, knows the Stanford coaching staff pretty well. So, but I was interested about this, fellas, and I love to know your ideas on that. And it's one of those things where it's like, because I'm a journalist, I really, really look into it. Coach Sanders ripped his defensive back, saying that they didn't play well, they didn't make the plays or whatever and everything. But when someone asks, well, hey, what were your thoughts on the third down play in overtime that Shedeur Sanders rolled out, tried to just make a play and just threw it up, and then it was an interception, which if he throws it away, they can at least get a field goal. He doesn't even really answer it. He just starts talking about how the team has to get better overall and what they need to do. So, what are y'all thoughts on that, guys?
Ant, you want to go first?
I've never seen him publicly criticize Shedeur. I've seen him criticize Shiloh plenty of times, but it just seems like Shedeur can do no wrong.
You know what? I can think back to Media Day last year. Not Media Day. One of the SWAC teleconference coaches conference. I think it was the championship week. When it was just, I think him and Doolin, he talked about Shedeur stating the fact that, hey, he's thrown, I think at the time, he's thrown 6 interceptions this season. And all 6 he gave them away. And that was the most, but he talked about, it was a glowing review about how studious Shedeur is. So he's so to your point, he doesn't really criticize. He may give an explanation, but he never really criticizes. And I feel as though he's being a very protective coach, and more importantly, a very protective father. He's trying to get the Heisman. or first round draft pick
You
or
just
both.
lost to Stanford. That's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but it's like he's trying. It's like he's all we joked about.
Not sure if he's even going to get second team All Pac-12 at this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
I mean,
So that's what I'm
be
saying.
real. Let's be
You can't even
real.
talk about the Heisman if you can't even get out your own conference.
He's gonna be fourth at best in that voting. And
Yeah.
I mean, you got Caleb, Penix, and Bowden. That's all gonna get more votes than him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I think it's going to be. We joked about one day. Somebody asked. They said, "Man, Nebraska's loading the box. When are they going to start running it?" And I said, "When Shador plays running back," because I feel like it's always not necessarily always going to be about Shador, but it's going to be more about let's do this to make him look better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. But like I said, the crazy thing is that like that was third down in that overtime game. And yeah, he was trying to make a play, but the fact that like he just literally threw that ball up and there was not a Colorado receiver anywhere close to it. You throw that thing out the back of the end zone, you got fourth down, they can at least kick a field goal. Stanford was like, well, thank you. And they ran 3 plays and then lined up for a field goal to be like, all right, we about to just kill this thing right now instead of like keep, dragging it on in the additional overtime. So that shows you what they thought about that thank you gift in that situation.
Yeah, that was a bad play. I can't even lie. That was a bad
Yeah.
play.
I was a little sad about this game because they've been my dark horse for like 2 years. Kansas, number 23, Kansas lost to Oklahoma State 39-32. Just when you think Kansas is going to, up for a really good season, Jalen Daniels gets injured. He's out. They lose. This is what second loss now. And this game was very winnable. Oklahoma State is, and I know it changes week to week. We talked about this early any given Saturday, but this is Oklahoma State who at home got beat by 26 by South Alabama. So
yeah, that's an ugly loss.
So
that's an ugly loss.
Yeah. Speaking of ugly loss, number 25 Miami. Our good friends over at Miami. Number 25 Miami lost to number 12 North Carolina 41-31. That's 5 straight for the boys in Chapel Hill over Miami. And that is actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, 7 out of the last 9 in Chapel Hill. So yeah, Miami can't win though for some reason. So
and the ACC is just so out of whack right now after Florida State. It's kind of like, all right, who wants to be the next best team?
Well, I tell you who it ain't gonna be. Louisville, number 14, Louisville, after a big win over Notre Dame, took on Pittsburgh and laid an egg, 38-21. Yeah.
I sure thought that was gonna be a sleeper team for.
I was literally raving on. I can't. We came on here for like 3 weeks, and I said, "Man, Louisville ranked too low.
Maybe not."
And now they in the they in the 20s. That's what they need to be. So, Sweat Fan 100 said Hurricanes are long gone from what they were. Yeah, wait till you see the rest of this schedule they got. If I'm not mistaken, they got Clemson next.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. So they just had, they got Clemson, Virginia, North Carolina State, Florida State, and Louisville. So,
oh Jesus,
yeah, they started off 4-0. Yeah, they might go 6-6. It's a strong
I think
possibility.
at this point, it's kind of like, can they get to that 6?
Yeah, that ain't no lie. 12-0.
Yeah. Other, we had hold on, I got a few of them. It's in. First, Illinois, the Fighting Illini went down to Maryland and got a win, 27-24. I thought I thought they were done. Bielema.
They are.
Bielema.
Thought they were done.
I mean, they are. They ain't got nothing to play for but be a spoiler.
Basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Next up, the next two both ended the same way. West Virginia versus Houston on Thursday night.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah, Houston got the win 41-39 on a Hail Mary as time ran out. And then, when you thought, hey, I did not know, what I'm saying? When you thought that game was over and stuff, thought that may have been the only one. Boise State.
I don't know how this happened.
Took on Colorado State and lost 31-30. The crazy part about it, they had a 21-point lead going into the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, like 6 minutes left, they was up like 18 or something ridiculous like that.
Colorado State kicked the onside kick. No, they scored a touchdown. Got the onside kick. Kicked the onside and scored again. Got the onside kick again. It was a penalty, so they ended up having to kick it off. Boise State could not move the ball, get a first down, putting it back to Colorado State, and Colorado State scored on a Hail Mary to win the game. It was supposed to be, you did what you supposed to do, bat the ball down.
They batted it down.
But they batted it right down
there, waiting for it to be batted down.
Yeah, a wide receiver's hands, and then tied it up at 30. And the 31-year-old married man with 2 kids got to live the moment of his life and kick the game-winning field goal.
Yeah, that was.
No, I'm not. That's no joke. That guy is really.
That was like
legit 31 with 2 kids, married with 2 kids.
Boise State was up 20 with 6 minutes left in the game.
That's crazy.
There you go. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And you or Mo, either one of y'all have any other games? What up, Jamon?
Come back
from major college football. I think you kind of hit about all of them.
Now listen. We gonna talk all the upsets. We gonna talk all the homecoming. We're gonna talk all that tomorrow for HBC because that's listen. I got to get through the coaches show, the press conference tomorrow morning. So I know because it's some coaches that's listen, it's 2 coaches who I what you say, Ant, they might not be, the seat might not be hot, but they have the coach standing up. I tell you what, they sitting down real pretty right now.
Oh yeah. I know that it's some coordinators who can't sit down neither. As a matter of fact, their pants might be on fire. They seat so hot.
So we're gonna get the I hope who was that? Was talking I Survived Plan B. The guy who was in here, I Survived Plan B.
Oh yeah.
I hope he come back tomorrow because he was talking a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his name. Mo. It's hilarious.
All right, this sounds like an off the show story that I need to find.
No, that's literally that's his name on Facebook.
That was his
YouTube.
Screen name on YouTube or whatever. That was his name.
So, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State was a good game. It was a close one as well. I'm trying to see who else. Fresno State, Utah State was a really good game. Tulane, they also won.
Man, Tulane's right in the top 25 now.
Yes. And I told you that Tulane was the best Group of 5 team. James Madison might be pushing for that spot.
Yeah, James Madison. Even though
they blew out Georgia Southern yesterday 41-13.
Did they?
Yes, so
I don't know how they not ranked.
That's a good question. Because if I'm not mistaken, they beat Virginia. Yeah. Bucknell, Virginia, Troy, Utah State, South Alabama, Georgia. So they beat no. That was 2 weeks after. I was gonna say they beat South Alabama right after, but no, that was 2 weeks after. But yeah. So the Dukes.
And they can't even go to a bowl game from them. Or is that Jackson?
They can't.
I know Jacksonville State can't.
Yeah, because of transitional year.
No, George Madison. I think this is their second year, so they should be good. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're good. But man, I did want to do something else. I wanted to ask you guys: way too early playoff selections.
Ooh. You want to pick teams?
Remember, this is last year the 4, so before we go to 12.
Right. Right now, just as of right now, you have to pick your 4. What you're looking at?
Give me Michigan.
Okay.
Give me Georgia. Give me Washington. And give me Florida State.
Okay. You got 2 on who the 2 on our side?
Probably Penn State and Oklahoma.
Okay. Mo, what you got?
All right, so I don't want to have the exact same picks in this situation. So I would say give me Georgia and Michigan for sure. Mm-hmm. Florida State and Oklahoma.
Okay. You got 2 on our side.
I would have Washington on the outside, along with maybe either Ohio State, Penn State, since they play each other this week.
Okay. My 4. I'm going with.
Oh, you know what? I can add a third at Alabama on the outside looking in too.
Yeah, they have about 8 losses by then. Not just give me okay, so Michigan, Oklahoma, Georgia, Washington, and I have Florida State and dang.
So what's your 4 again?
What's that? Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma, Washington.
Okay.
And then on the outside is Florida State and I'm gonna say Texas. Yeah, I think Texas is a top 5 or a top 16. I just think that. I don't think Oklahoma.
The way the Big 12 is set up now, I mean, Texas could still win out and face Oklahoma again in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah,
and then avenge that loss. So that's a possibility.
Would you put Texas over Oregon?
Right now, I would.
Would I put Texas over Oregon? I mean, heck,
I think
Texas has probably the best road win among a lot of teams. So, I mean, that's kind of hard to get with that. I think the big thing is just going to be, can they get to the Big 12 championship and potentially beat Oklahoma? If they do that, that's almost like wiping off the Red River rivalry loss, and technically they're undefeated if you really think about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
I mean,
I guess you could say the same thing for Oregon, though. If they
you really could.
Make it unscathed, and then they beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship game, then they're undefeated again in a sense.
I'm just looking at Oregon's schedule right now. To answer your last question, Oregon's best win is over HBCU. All right, I'm sorry.
I had to think about that for a second, but
okay. All right, I'm sorry.
I had to think about that for a second, but I see
but no, I mean, but realistically, Oregon's best win is over number 19 Colorado. That didn't look like the number 19 team.
but hey, here's the other thing too. I mean, they do have Washington State coming up next week. Then they're at Utah the following week, USC in November, and Oregon State. So, I mean, they've got a number of top 25 teams they can still beat and potentially face Washington in a rematch. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Pac-12 championship's in Las Vegas. So, I mean,
it is.
So who knows what happens down there?
Yeah. That's it for college football. Talk NFL. This week has been bad as far as NFL football. Now, the games there were some good games and stuff, but if I'm not mistaken, all the games were like very low scoring, except for like the Dolphins game, if I'm not mistaken. So, even the game now, there has been, I think the score is like 6-0. Nobody scored a touchdown yet. It's third quarter. So, yeah. Saints lost. Hey, Detroit is for real. The Washington Commanders got the win in Atlanta, which is always good, seeing Atlanta lose.
Yeah. But the Saints couldn't do nothing with it.
No, they couldn't do nothing with it. If I'm not mistaken, actually all the NFC South.
Yeah, the whole division lost.
Yeah. Saints lost. Buccaneers lost to Detroit, which again, Detroit for real. And the Panthers they got mollywopped.
Then you had 2 undefeated teams lose today to backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Any given Sunday.
Jacksonville got a big win.
Was it a big win against a backup quarterback?
I mean, it's a big win because division wise.
Yeah, but I mean, it
ain't like put them solely because if I'm looking, I think everybody else in their division except the Texans won. So
yeah, the Colts. It would be a big win if they would have been in full strength, I think. But they did what they're supposed to do against Gardner Minshew.
The Raiders beat the Patriots again this year. I mean, again for the saying same thing they beat them last year. Mac Jones. I think the Patriots going. I don't know if they need to tank for somebody or what. It's been bad.
Mac Jones need to just like how much of Mac Jones' career earnings does he need to give to Devontae Smith? Because if it wasn't for that 2020 year at Alabama, Mac Jones wouldn't have half of what he got right now.
I mean, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris.
Yeah, like
there's a whole lot of twos from that Alabama squad that he was getting the ball to,
Yeah. 49ers lost to the Browns on a third string quarterback. Yeah. So
shout out PJ Walker.
Eagles. I didn't even see that coming. I didn't even watch that game. I did not even see that one coming.
Jalen Hurts threw 3 picks.
Yep. Including a pick he didn't need to throw late in that game.
That was terrible.
Yeah, he just threw that away. I mean, once again, throw it away, punt, and then
that was terrible. I don't know why.
Let them drive down the field.
Try to force it in a double coverage, throwing off your back leg. That's just not smart quarterback play.
on Thursday, I know we talked about it a little bit on the show, but the Chiefs got a 19-8 win over the Broncos.
Broncos suck.
The Chiefs are the worst 5-1 team that I know. Who else? Who else? Yeah, because you got 49ers.
Let's
No.
see who are 5-1 right now.
All right, I'm finna tell you. So you got the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Lions.
I mean, when you put it like that,
Eagles probably
Nick Thomas. You finna agree with Nick, so you wanna, because Nick say hot take, but the Eagles, just look at the way they play. Well, actually, you can look tomorrow. Or no, they got 2 losses. Never mind. Tomorrow night they got Dallas and the Chargers, but they already got 2 losses. So
yeah, I think the Eagles worse than the Chiefs right now. I mean, the Chiefs is just offense, but the Eagles haven't looked great neither. And they calling card is the defensive side of the ball. And I don't know. I just feel like the 49ers, the Eagles brought back pretty much their whole team offensively, and they don't look the same. Whereas the Chiefs missing, receiver Juju, and they ain't got the receiving core that they had last year. So it's understandable that they kind of work some things out. Both of them lost their offense coordinator. So
yeah. Jamon say 49ers that team. I think we see a rematch for the NFC Championship, but the 49ers take it.
I think it's gonna be 49ers and Dallas rematch.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not sold on Philly, man. Dallas at least got a defense.
That's true. I'll give you that. All right. And I need an update. Talk to me. Tell me about the WNBA. What happened today?
Today the Liberty won. They defended home court. They won one game because Chelsea Gray got hurt, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But they played better defense. Today they made life a little tougher for the Aces, but Jonquel Jones the reason they won. 27 points, controlling the paint. She dang.
Oh, that's a big brawl. Jeez.
But yeah, she controlled the paint and made life hard for the Aces. So they if I'm not mistaken, they won by like 7 today. Or no, it was more than that. Because they hit a 3 late. They hit a 3 late. I think they won by like 12, maybe 13, something like that. Because
I know
Sabrina hit the 3 late.
When I checked in, what was the score? I want to say it was double digits.
They
won by 14. So
yeah.
So
it was like a 6.8 point game with like a minute left, but she hit a 3 late, and then fouls, free throws, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The biggest question is the Chelsea Gray injury. She limped off the court late, and then they said she was on crutches after the game. So we'll see how that injury affects the rest of the series. Because if she can't go, that's a big loss for the Aces. So, but yeah, right now it's still 2-1, and they play again on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, from New York.
Gotcha. All right. I'm trying to think. We got anything else before we get up out of here?
Nah, that's all I got, bro.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else since you're holding off the HBCU stuff.
Yeah, listen, it was. Let's see, that Tuskegee ending with Jamie. Oh man, Jamie Walker with the call.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, him and Kamari.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was wild. I had just switched over from the Bama State, Jackson State game. And
who won that one?
Wow.
Look, Alabama HBCUs on the D1 level on a mission this week, apparently, to spoil homecomings across the nation.
Yeah,
apparently.
homecomings were definitely spoiled. That's for a fact.
Yeah. But I just finished watching Bama State and Jackson State, and I'm clicking out of the ESPN app, and then they were like, more games you may be interested in. So like Edward Waters Tuskegee, like I literally clicked it, and they were coming out of the timeout before they threw the Hail Mary, and I'm like, wow, like I'm glad I chose this one. I had to see it on social media like
Alabama HBCUs, Alabama State. Who else won?
Man, y'all trying to be petty.
I'm just asking the question. The people want to know.
Ain't nobody asked that.
Somebody
asked that.
Somebody asked.
Nobody asked that.
You send me a text message. Say, hey, Pooh,
tell them to watch the show then, and they can ask it on the show.
Yeah, okay.
Trying to be petty.
Y'all watch the show tomorrow.
Like I said, by the time they got a D1 win.
Listen, man. I'm just saying. We said.
But look, speaking of homecoming,
teams still got something to play for.
But look, speaking of homecoming, there was a team that did win their homecoming yesterday. That was Mississippi Valley.
I thought you was gonna talk about Southern.
Yeah, Southern did. Southern played. That was they scheduled. Never mind. But yeah,
they did it smart. That was smart. They scheduled a game they could win. That's smart.
Correct. But at the same time, because of a game like that is why my behind was not in Baton Rouge, Louisiana yesterday, because I just don't want to watch them beat somebody by 40-some points.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
I had to kind of stay off of Facebook yesterday and a little bit of today because of that.
At least you can win, though. At least you can win. Never mind. I'm not. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But I will say this: while y'all trying to clown Grambling, at least
nobody clown the ground.
At least they still got something to play for.
They say, I mean, A&M still got something to play for, technically.
On the outside looking in, they need some other help. But
yeah, they need help, but they still got some.
They do need some help, but heck, in the West, I mean, as we said before, it's gonna come down to November.
They need help from the people that they've been trying to clown for the past.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you who need help. No man. Sorry, I said stay on my time. I ain't talking about
they
that.
Got everything still in front.
I just asked the question. See, I picked them. I picked them to win the West. At least I
by default. No, you did. You picked Alcorn.
No, I did. I said the winner of Graham Alcorn. I think it's gonna be Alcorn. And then it was like, well, I guess the winner could be, Graham, because Alcorn wasn't looking too hot. Nah, I guess the winner could be Alcorn. I mean, just saying.
Alcorn won by not playing this weekend. That boy G been talking so much noise just because he ain't got an L beside his name this weekend.
That dude was hilarious. But yeah, y'all have to come back tomorrow, man. That's gonna be a good one.
I'll be tuning in. Or at least try to.
Hey, we appreciate it. I don't know. I guess that's it. Get up high. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I won't talk about them.
Oh, you ain't hurt my feelings. I'm over that game.
I guess I feel bad because I had just told, Hugh Jackson. I said, you sent them, them people your address so they can give you them apology letters. Them people that told them letters up. He
better hope he ain't sent his address.
They told that. Hey, let me holler at you.
They're gonna be sending defense. Never mind. Go ahead and change this before I say something I ain't got no business saying.
Ooh, they're gonna be after thee. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Like that, we out.
This show was presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot.
On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden